My name is Bill, and I'd love to tell you about how I became a survivor of being pimped by both of my parents and also how I survived being incested by both of them. I was born in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. I was reared up in a very religious home in that, we couldn't go to the movies, we couldn't dance, my sister couldn't wear pants. Father was an ordained evangelist of this national church that we were a part of, the largest African American church in a Pentecostal organization. They taught the wives to take whatever they had to take in order to stay married. And my mother believed that she was a national mother of the church. She offered her children, me and my sister, to my father to be his sexual slaves. There were things that we went through that just, I could imagine any child going through that. My earliest memories around the age of 4. He started by coming in and massaging my leg. And then maybe the next time was my leg in my private area. Then he wanted to perform on me as a child. Then it went into me performing on him. And I also went through, a situation where he was having prison sex with me very often. My sister went through some of the same things, but she went through, to me, it's even worse because eventually she had to have several abortions because of this. And she also was molested by one of his brothers who also was a minister of the church. Eventually, our mother started having sex with us also. So you would think a mom would intervene and stop this and let's get away, let's run. No, she eventually she wanted to share. I noticed she liked to do that when he was not there, or when he went away to someone's house, or there were times when he left her. There were times where they were separated and he was gone. He was at I don't know, a woman's house, a man's house. And there were times where she wanted to molest her. So, I mean, it's just, I can't find no other way to say it. We went from being sexual slaves at home to going to church and being pimped to pastors. The church itself has well over 5 million members worldwide. It's a large church, and it breaks down into states, and the states break down into jurisdictions break down in districts, and then you have a local church. So you got the pastor, you got the superintendent, you got the bishop, and that's pretty much how it's structured. I mean, we were pimped to several bishops in the church. Our father, his role was an evangelist. He was licensed as an evangelist. He traveled around. He preached in different churches every Sunday, every other Sunday, or whoever invited him. So we would travel with him to these churches. He would either offer us to be molested, be sexually abused by the pastor of his church, either before, after, or during service at some point. It was either of us, or some were sick enough like to sex molest both of us. So we were molested, in these different places where he went to preach. My mother, she would go and sing a song, and me and my sister, we were sent to the pastor's office, and you know what happens. Like I said, it was a very critical time, very hard time as a kid. Well, the abuse for me went on from the age of 4 up until the age of 12 or 13. So you go from, being a child that could hardly understand sex, don't know anything about sex. Then you get older, you know exactly what's going on, you know what's going to happen. We had a so-called, yes, a normal life in the sense of going to school every day. We went to public school. That was normal in that sense, but the abuse happened, overnight. I can't say that I told anyone. Obviously, I didn't tell a lot of people because, some people didn't find out about it until I started talking about 10 or so years ago. I didn't think to tell a teacher because we were seen as important anyway. We were just two little black kids growing up in an impoverished neighborhood in government apartments. You would think as a teacher, teachers could tell something was going on, but they didn't care. Our voices weren't really heard. Growing up, I remember my room, and I remember going to my room, and I remember where all the pimping began was there were men standing outside my window wanting to get inside my bedroom because obviously my father had told them, you can come into this room and you can have sex with my son. You would think that this right here would be traumatic, but I mean, it just got worse and worse and worse. I remember feeling numb a lot as a kid. You can get to the point where it happens so much until you just like are dead. But I remember coming just like I would go to another place, another world when that would happen because it was a world that seemed to be more exciting than one I was allowed to have. Wishing it would be over, just wishing that whatever it was would stop. Pimping was introduced to us, me and my sister. I think I was around about 6 years old. Our mother, she would have what they call fish fries. So she would cook fish, make spaghetti, coleslaw, white bread. And they would invite their preacher friends over and they would feed them and they would send me and my sister on to our rooms and send the preachers in after us. Some of them like women, some of them like little boys, some of them like little girls, and some of them like both of us. So that's what happened, man. It was whatever they wanted, and whatever our mom or dad. Like I said, they were trying to pay rent, so they didn't care what they did. They just sent them in there after us and let them, just have whatever, whoever, how long. And it went from the home to different people's homes, and then it went into the church. So I mean, it was just so so hard. I mean, it was really when I look back, it was a really difficult upbringing. It was a very hard upbringing. You could deal with a church and all their rules or whatever the case, but when it's going as far as your parents are they're in sexually assaulting you, and then you're being talked about so many people. I mean, it was a very hard to remember and very hard to discuss, but I'm glad I made it through it though. My sister and I leaned on each other a lot. I feel like we were the only ones that could understand. No one else cared or nobody else wanted to know.
Nurses just know what nurses need.
It's just, the nature of us as nurses to care for people.
I could not have made it without her.
I appreciate you and I love you.
No one else cared or nobody else wanted to know how we were doing. So, I feel like for a long time, like all we had was each other. It stopped around the age of 13 or 14. Bridget ran away from home several times. I was like, now I'm by myself. Our mother stayed with him. She loved him more than anybody in the world. Unfortunately, my mother lived with me until she passed in 2004. He passed in the year 2000. So a lot of people ask me, how could you have bought a house and had your mother move in with you and all that? There were so many unanswered questions. They never, until the day they died, asked us to forgive either one of them for anything they did. They never said they were sorry. They never said anything. You're still asking and still wondering, like, why did this happen? Why did it happen? Why do we have to go through that? And then eventually it went into, it was what it was. And then after that, it just kind of, you just tuck it away in a closet somewhere. The hardest thing now is learning to forgive. That's almost been more terrifying than it is having gone through it, because you have to actually face all of these emotions, face all of these situations. You have to face everything. For me, I have to do exactly what the Word of God tells me, and that is to forgive. That has been a very bitter road. I started in ministry when I was in the second semester of college. A lot of people, I've talked to over the last few years are like really shocked that I could be a minister and having been molested by my father, who was a minister, and so many other ministers. I don't blame God for it. I don't go down the road of, well, God is not in control. Well, I said God is in control because I'm still here. I'm here to tell my story. He allowed me to go through that. I allowed my sister to go through that. Unfortunately, he knew that we had some strength in us somewhere in order to live through it, and that today we will be able to tell the story of how we were pimped and how we were molested, by our own parents. Why do I share my story? I want to help people. I want to talk, and maybe someone can listen and hear me talk. They will get some kind of encouragement from that. I've gotten 3 degrees. I've gotten a bachelor's degree. I've gotten 2 master's degrees. So I'm going to law school. I know my life is kind of like I should have went to law school when I first went after high school, but things happened and I got more money, which where I was studying. So I said, well, I'll forget about it. Well, here I am 44 years old and it's right back in my face. I just can't ignore it. I can't ignore it now. So I want to go to law school for religious rights, to protect the church, religious rights of the church, but I also want to protect civil rights. I want to help other people. How do I educate others of my past? Well, I know that being a man, being a male, that there are a lot of men out here who've been molested like me. Some probably have gone through worse. A lot of them probably gone through worse than what I've gone through. I want to help them, give them a voice, but I also want to give a voice to as many as would hear me. I would love to, I love to share my story now. I like to talk more about what we went through. I am writing a book. We are some close descendants of Alex Haley, who wrote the Book of Roots. I've given the name of the book is Twisted Root. I would like to help people because I'm still teaching myself by the Word of God on forgiving, and I think that forgiveness is very important. I think forgiveness is very powerful. Hate doesn't accomplish anything. Hate makes you more sick. Hate is not the answer. How do I get my story out? Or started a couple years ago. I was on a nationally syndicated show, and since then I'm in different type work settings and in the church. I have found a place for me to talk. Eventually, I believe nationally that I'll be able to tell my story again. I'm in a situation where I'm just wanting to share my story more. Me and my sister tried to report some of the things that were happening. We had started some litigation against the church for some of the things that happened to us. We came to a stopping point because of the way the civil laws work in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee is still one of those states where, you have a very hard time trying to go back and sue an organization like in the state of New York, to bring in a lawsuit against an organization for being molested or whatever the case was. So, but that has not happened in the state of Tennessee. So right now we're not moving anywhere with it, but it's still on our minds. How do I go on, or where have I found the strength of going? Well, my senior pastor, Apostle Victoria Watt, she's been very helpful. I mean, she's been so helpful in so many ways. She's a prophet. She actually saw something in a dream, and that's where the doors began to open. She saw something way back then that happened, and I had never told anyone other than my sisters. We've gotten some therapy as far as the church is concerned. The church has helped me to get along, but we are, we're taking it day by day. Why don't I share my story?
Black history is very important. It's important that our students see themselves and they understand where they came from and where they're going.
Black history is everyone's history, right? There's a truth about what happened and what our history is as a country.
Nexium 24-hour prevents heartburn acid all day and all night. Choose acid prevention. Choose Nexium.
We're taking it day by day. Why don't I share my story so proudly, so openly? I believe that I can help others. I'd like to, help as many people as I can. I don't know what everyone's destiny is or whatever they're trying to achieve, but like I said, I've gone on. I've gotten 3 other degrees because there's something I'm trying to do as far as going to law school. So I mean, there are things that I'm trying to do academically that's maybe a little different from someone else, but maybe someone else has a hope or a dream, and don't believe they can achieve it, because this happened. Well, that happened, but I believe that people can create a better ending. Did I think about killing myself? Yes, I thought about killing myself. I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I had swallowed a whole bottle of Tylenol pills. They had taken me to the hospital, Children's Hospital in Memphis, and they pumped my stomach. I'm still alive. Yeah, I've had some behavioral issues. I know that, they say, well, he's probably bipolar or schizophrenic. Well, I mean, I'm glad I'm not dead. It's just good to talk, as far as a counselor is concerned or therapist is concerned. I do believe that, if I can continue to help other people, I'll essentially help my own self, For me, what helped me was faith. I know that people have a lot of opinions about faith and God and all, but what helped me was God. God, faith and God helped me, and He helped me through other people. So I would like to tell other people to forgive, and if you're still in that situation, you need to find a way to get out. You can forgive, but I don't want to give you that freedom in my life to bring something else on me. I would like for people to just get away, get out, and find a place where they feel safe to get the help that they need. Find some people that you can trust and let someone help you. You can't make it on your own. You can't get there by yourself. Someone else has to help you, direct you in those places. I thank you for listening to my story. I hope that it's helped you. I hope that you can gain something positive from something that I shared today. And thank you for your time.